Have you ever thought about how strong, resilient, and creative Black/African American people are? Out of all the pain and suffering from our ancestors during over 400 years of slavery, the Jim Crow laws where society was divided and those Africans, those black folks, weren't allowed to have certain educational material. At the end of the day, got the short end of the stick. Have you ever thought of the fact that the system itself red zone certain areas to make it more difficult for them to get loans and own businesses, have something for themselves and of themselves, but would allow other races of people to set up curry outs and liquor stores and gas stations and other franchises um, on the perimeter of those environments, knowing that the very people who don't have anything to call their own because of the way the system was designed would go and give their dollars, their money to foreigners who own those private entities as well as those franchises. The very system who have indirectly and directly told us that we weren't anything, that our skin was not so much as appealing, and our hair, um, our kinky hair for some of us, was the mark of, again, something that wasn't appealing, would allow a foreigner of another race to come over and set up shops that would sell you hair and other um, cosmetics that supposed to enhance that beauty and make you feel more secure with yourself. So if I told you you weren't anything by way of print and electronic media, and when you went to go try and get a loan, and when you went into a certain place and people looked at you funny and you were denied, it's almost confirmation, especially to the young mind that is growing up. They begin to think that, I'm not worthy, and they begin to live that way. So we talk about the person that I thought might give me some competition in any endeavor, challenge that I set out. The person I thought was pretty strong over there, I'm going to have to watch him. That's the person I paid most attention to. Everybody else, maybe I felt like if we were about to run this race, they had nothing coming. But that person, I got to train harder than. So I think the fact that we sometimes don't know who we are, a lot of time, those who have been oppressing us, the white supremacists, I believe they know exactly who we are. And that's why they have made it their business to keep us down, to keep a foot on our neck. Because if we ever find out who we are and we wake up, that giant will be unstoppable. Why waste your time holding somebody down who you feel like is 3/5 of an animal, who you feel like isn't worthy, who you feel like is not capable? Why hold them down? If he's that weak, you can leave him or them to themselves. They can't go but so far anyway. So the very fact that you have set out to hold us back and keep us down is evidence that you understand who we really are. But that's not what I came to talk about. I came to talk about the fact that all these things and so much more, I just really, pecked the surface. We are still some of the most creative people in the world. I mean, the very people whose ancestors have abused and used and dealt with our ancestors like they were animals. Their children are copying and mocking our children and our generation's style, their swag. It's the very people a lot of times that are in the suburbs that don't know nothing about the hood nor the struggle with the hood, but they dressing like us. They talking like us. They bob into the music a lot of times whose lyrics are a result of hood or ghetto experiences. Let me tell you, you bad and you just don't know it. You ever seen somebody in the hood? You got them girls, they do their hair. It looks so teen. They be going zigzag, this, that, the cornrows, the braids. They put the colors in. I mean, it's amazing. And a lot of them ain't never went to no class. You ever seen the dances? Have you seen them women move? Have you seen how some of those guys get out there and they're able to dance? I mean, it's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing that in spite of what you have put us in, the boundaries and the limitations that you put on us, how we come through and we're so colorful and we're so creative. To the point where you have masterminds that have ended up in prison and we named them and we call them now kingpins. They could have ran businesses. They could have been the CEO. And I'm not bragging about having used that talent to promote crime. But I'm talking about the very fact that the talent was there and was used, that the talent was developed and executed. Everybody want to be somebody. And sometimes if you can't be somebody among the working class citizens and you can't get into the legal arena of things because of all the caps that has been put upon you, then you become the big fish in a little pond. I'm going to be somebody in the hood then. And am I making excuses? No. Am I saying that nobody makes it out? Nah, not at all. Several people have. And kudos to them. Because it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing when you're coming up young and you're seeing all this activity around you and to be able to think outside the box and find yourself outside the box one day. Not only is that to be praised and to be understood that someone actually had a vision and walked out and manifested themselves in that vision, but there's also with some chance there. Because when you're in an environment where at any given time you're ducking, even in your house, you're telling your children to get down, as I recall my mom doing herself, having me and my pregnant sister to get down while bullets came through the windows and her plants were falling out. So some of it was chance. No matter how good you set out to be. And no matter how much you wanted not to be a part of the environment that you were in because you wanted to go outside of it and live as that working class citizen that's abiding by the law. You had to get past the bullets and stuff that you had no control over. So glory be to God. But how many have? And how many will? But I ain't come to talk about that. I came to talk about the very fact that in spite of all that, because we are such a beautiful and creative people, that we're still able to dance to the beat of our own drum, in spite of the fact that we know they don't like us out there. Like Michael Jackson's song said, they don't really care about us. My man Sam Cooke, a change gonna come. See, I went to the movies, I went on the corner. Somebody always talking about, you don't belong here. In spite of that, we have so much talent. Have you ever looked at some of the women who aren't on the same eating regimens as some of the models in Hollywood, not doing no exercise, you know, other than walking up and down the street, might be pushing a stroller, but her body is amazing, and it looked like she has been doing those same discipline as the person who actually got through the door. Beautiful, creative people. I'm not just talking about the football players that come out the hood or the basketball players that come out the hood. Nevertheless, respect. But I'm not just talking about the rappers. Again, respect that come out of the hood. But I'm talking about the people who really qualify. I'm talking about the people, if you will, who can drive. They just don't have a license. You got people that don't have a license that can drive better than some people who got a license. The same way, you have people that are in the inner city, what we call the hood, who had talent just as much or even more as some people who have made it in different careers, but they just haven't had the opportunity to be able to get the credentials that will solidify and confirm. They haven't been given the opportunity. They haven't been taught how to go and get the opportunity that exists. Because you got to understand, when you're trying to survive, when you are in an environment when you're surviving, you're most focused on surviving. I just want to get from one day to the next. And I want to try to do it with as much peace as possible and as less stress. And we understand that that could mean different things for different people. But when you're just hoping to make it to the next day, it becomes difficult to try to wean through all of that, the hustles, the bustles, the struggle, and say, I'm going to take the steps that's going to get me out of here, because I'm so busy trying to survive while I'm in here. It's a big difference. So, in recognizing who we are, sometimes we have to look around and see the talent. Sometimes we have to look in the mirror and say, wow, you still here. Wow, you could have been dead so many times. Wow, you found yourself in this and that situation, but you got through. Wow. It's not that you're some bad person. It's not that you're not all human as the Constitution once indicated. It's not that you're slow. If we just wanted to connect our abilities to our ancestors, then we are geniuses, because that means that we have the same genetic makeup to some extent or another that's civilized, that endured whips and chains and all kind of carnage. Even to the day. So ain't nothing wrong with you. You just been lied to. You just been lied to. Look at the creativity around you. Appreciate it. Love yourself and you'll find yourself loving and not hating. You'll find yourself loving the people around you. You'll find yourself loving people that look like you, because you love you. Before I end, I do want to say this. I'm not racist at all. I love all people. But I do have race pride. And I have a very, very good reason to do so, because my people were great people. So I'm not going to act like racism don't exist and like it's just all good, like it haven't held us back. But I would never allow racism to make me racist or to make me hate other races. Look at your history and discover your strength. Look at your presence and see your creativity. Break the cycle.